What's good, y'all? It's been a minute, so I decided this time for this podcast episode, I would make a video. I'm packing my house right now and getting ready to move. And when I move into my new space, I will create an area that is for videos. So this one's going to be a little bit rogue. I'm not all put together. I've been packing all morning and all day yesterday. It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm in a steamy 3-bedroom plus sunroom trying to figure out how to fit it all into a 2-bedroom apartment that I'm moving into. So that means sorting and going through things, and really that's the story of my whole life right now, as much as it's annoying. Where do I start? It's been a while since I've made an episode, and I had a goal of making one bi-weekly, and life just became more than I could manage in many ways. I'm in a season of closed doors, and I know you have to be mindful how you use your words, but that's the reality of the season I've been in. And I'm sure it's a part of a process, just like getting this house packed up and getting rid of things, and having a new start is a part of a process. And it doesn't make it more comfortable, but I assume something will come of it. And I'll find answers later, more clarity later on why it had to be this way. But yeah, so I've been I spent the last hour going through chords. How does one collect that many chords? I am very unsure, very uncertain. But it's just those little things that you don't realize are building up. And I feel like that's happening in so many different ways in my life in this time where I'm forced to figure out who I am underneath performance, which is why I'm arriving how I am today. And I made another video today, but my camera shut off, and the artist in me is driving me crazy that it's a bit fuzzy, like the focus is off, and I'm just gonna do another one. But yeah, I have boxes everywhere, and I don't know, I've never had a diagnosis, but I know I have a hard time focusing, and it's even harder when my surroundings are chaotic. So this is a gift to myself, to do something creative and to tap in with people that are tapped into me. In the last video, I was speaking some on just kind of what this process is like moving, but even more so what brought me to where I'm at today. And there's quite a few things going on. I think it's a combination of hormones and grief. I lost my mom at the end of September. She was a big pillar in my life, and it just kind of left me feeling like, what is the point? Like what am I here for? And who are my people? And I've spoken on this some if you've listened to my podcasts, but I'll speak on it more directly today on kind of my testimony going from, you can call it New Age, to Christ. And I didn't necessarily see myself as a New Age practitioner or someone who identified in that spirituality term. I still don't necessarily resonate with it, even from what I was doing before. But, I definitely spent the majority of my adult life in deep yogic studies. I have 4 teacher training certifications, and I've invested thousands of dollars in learning how to heal the body and how to heal the spirit and how to align the energies. And that started when I got pregnant with my first daughter. That would be 2003. And went to my first prenatal yoga class, and it felt so good. And I really think there's so many physical benefits that come from yoga and from breath work and from mindfulness. And I still resonate with that a lot because that's what I've done my whole life and whole adult life. But I come from a history of being in church. I grew up that way. I understood the presence of the Holy Spirit, and my parents spoke in tongues. I grew up, getting like slain in the spirit, like getting my head touched and being in like a sleep or, a different consciousness on the floor, and understanding holy oil and holy water. And I wanted nothing to do with any of it because it all felt very controlling. I thought my way would be better. And I thought that a way that, to me, it felt more intellectual to have more autonomy in my life and less rigid rules. And so I left home really young and just went into living my life in the world. And so moving forward, I studied so many, I couldn't even tell you how many different modalities that I've trained in and studied in, and even leading groups in practices. And I am a hands-on practitioner, doing massage and biodynamic craniosacral therapy and a meditation coach. So I don't take any of this lightly. These are all things that I have stood behind and really believe in as ways to help our bodies process and heal trauma. So at this time, when everything shifted, I had gotten more into like Tantra and sensuality and pleasure as a way of healing. And so that led me to hypnotic orgasmic meditation. Just a way of like using hypnosis to reach this bliss. And I had decided I was going to find a way to train in doing that. And around then is when God showed me that there were other plans. I went to a church. Honestly, I think I smoked some first and went to a church just to check out the music. The story, you've heard it if you've listened to any other episodes, but I'm just being a little more clear here that I didn't go to find Jesus or to change what I was doing. I went to be in the atmosphere. The preacher was a drummer for me for many, many, many years, and I knew the music would be good. So that's why I went. And while I was there, I felt this heavy, heavy blanket of the Holy Spirit. And I remembered, I'm like, oh, this could only be that. I know what that feels like. I haven't felt it in a long time, but I know what that feels like. I grew up in rooms where the Holy Spirit would dwell. And all the other spiritual practices I've done and the different plant medicines I've done, and I've had some really ecstatic experiences for sure, like even thinking about DMT. And this was different, like full body chills and remembrance. But still, I wasn't planning on shifting anything in my life. I had a plan. I'd invested almost 2 decades kind of exploring other ways of living. And to be completely frank, Christianity has always felt like a tool to oppress people to me. At least that was what I was feeling like. It made me think about patriarchy, made me think about nationalism, and the ways that people do things in this country or around the world in the name of their religion that I don't stand with and I don't stand by. And so to me, the idea of being open to that was just no. And so I get it that people feel a certain type of way when I talk about Jesus. I understand, because until a year plus ago, I felt the same way, and I still have some feelings that come up. I'm not religious, but so yeah, I felt this like deep feeling in that atmosphere, and then I just went on my way. I didn't even know if I'd return. Certain things about it triggered religious trauma from my childhood or just from my life, and so I went about my way. But then I started to get convicted. All these different things that I had been doing that I felt okay about, I started to get convicted, and I started to kind of wonder why. Like why do I feel like I need to get rid of my tarot cards? Why do I feel like I need to get rid of all of my crystals and all my other practices? Especially because yoga has been a part of the way that I've stayed fit and flexible. So yeah, I wasn't really trying to get rid of that for sure, because it's part of my mental health regimen. Which may be why I look so crazy today. But anyway, so yeah, slowly things begin to shift, and I begin to see that in many ways I was still performing in so many different areas of my life. Even going through my Patreon and seeing wanting to post a video and being restricted because of the amount of nudity I had on my page, which I love the body and I love creating beautiful work with bodies, but I realized I wasn't that person anymore. I wasn't needing that type of validation, I guess, and I had to, like right now I'm moving and going through boxes and going through cords and going through all the stuff that I've been carrying around for 9 years. I had to kind of look through visually and do the same, and that's happening in so many ways in my life. And at the same time, it's a season of no's and closed doors. Places where I normally would have an open door are closed. And I hear often that when you're being stripped, when you ask God to come into your heart and to change you, it is a lot like that. Like things don't go the way they used to go. Things don't work the way they used to work. Like he's doing a new thing in you. And if I would have known that getting baptized and choosing to follow Jesus was going to blow up my life, and honestly, I'm in a big place of like scarcity right now. Like I'm not moving because I really wanted to move yet. I'm moving because I can't afford the increase that's going to happen. And I'm downsizing into a smaller place, which is really humbling. Like, I honestly had a pretty solid career for quite a while, doing things my own way. But there's something that needs to be birthed within me that is requiring me to let go of who I thought I was and what I thought I was here to do. And because I am very hard-headed and really want to do it myself, I feel as if I'm being humbled to a place of there's no way I can. Every day I'm like begging for the daily bread to know I am here. And sometimes it feels pretty like desperate even. Like, please today, God, show me a little sign. Please today, God, give me a little more clarity. And I feel like I'm only getting it in little tiny doses. Not enough to keep ends meeting. Not enough to feel super inspired. But I'm accepting that I do know the way the nervous system works, right? Like, if you're under a lot of pressure, creation and pressure don't really coexist. Just like fear and faith can't coexist. One is taking up the space. And so something has got to shift in my life for me to be able to have stability at home and stability in my finances and in my life, so then I can create again if that's what I'm called to do. I feel that's a part of my calling because I'm a very creative person and I like to create in all aspects of my life, but I don't feel that I know anymore if that's what I'm here to do, and or if that's the call on my life. I think the call on my life definitely involves vulnerability, which is why I know I need to keep showing up and doing this. But it has been quite humbling and hard to think choosing Jesus was going to make something go a type of way, and instead facing the understanding that what comes with that is often a loss of your own identity, the identity that you picked up and that you brought with you your whole life, that maybe isn't the truth. And it is really clearly laid out all throughout the Bible what our identity is, but I'm having a hard time bridging that gap and believing it and seeing it in my reality. I know everybody says not by sight, like your faith is supposed to be not by what you see, but if all I see is closed doors and boxes and stress, I'm looking for some relief. So yeah, it's interesting, it's humbling. I still feel some type of peace, and honestly, it's been really, even though it's overwhelming, I have a lot more to pack. I honestly, even sitting here right now doing this is quite funny because I should be packing. I believe it's all going to work out. I believe later on I'll come back to this and say, oh, that's when I started again. And at 45, I think it's really beautiful to know that whatever's coming next could be the best that I've experienced yet. And yeah, I'm here for the journey and scared and a little bit mad. A little bit mad. I'd say I've been mad at God. It's kind of, why must I suffer And then I just think of the fact that like that whole walk is carrying your cross and suffering and spreading the word through just being honest about your testimony. So I've had some, I wouldn't say backlash exactly, but people that have stopped supporting me and like pulled back their Patreon pledge now that I'm not posting lingerie photos and only talking about a revolution, or people that just like have dropped out of my life since the change in my life. And I'm learning that that's okay. It's okay, because what's for me will be for me, and I do have some faith and trust in that. So I will commit to showing up here again and again and give myself grace for the times when I'm just going through it too much to have anything creative to share. And that has been the last few months. And I have recorded multiple episodes, but just like, I don't know. I have just been in between, what do they say, a rock and a hard place, and being tired of talking about it. Some good news. Many of you know I signed a deed to steward 39.1 acres of land an hour out of the city with this vision to build a healing center and just like a community sanctuary for Black and brown folks to come and rest. Raising money has felt like a closed door again, but the garlic is coming up that we planted. A small community has been coming together, and some fruit trees went in this week. It's like slow work. Farming isn't glamorous, and building a community is definitely not glamorous. I think I used to make it look hot, and whoa, it's so much work. People are work, and land is physical work because we're doing most of our work by hand, you know. We're trying to be in right relationship with the earth, and that means more work and slowness and rest, taking breaks, moving slow until the resources come in to help us to move faster. So the land is landing, and yeah, I'm excited just for this new season and for spring and summer and everything blooming and setting up a new apartment. I'm gonna need to find some furniture and things. I'm giving so much of mine away for free right now, but it's old energy, you know, stuff that I've had since my children were little, and I need a new start. They need a new start. You know, my youngest that still lives with me, and I want to show them that I could be in this place that I'm in right now, which is visually obviously a struggle, and that I can believe in myself enough to keep going. I'm not sure how it's going to work out, but I'm going to trust God will help. That's all I can do. Anyway, the only other thing I wanted to share is a little offering thought. As a practitioner, I do still work part-time doing body work, trauma-informed body work, and working with the fascia and all the connective tissues, and really just trying to like move trauma through the body. That hasn't changed. Who I call God has changed. You know, I'm less into worshiping the things God created and more worshiping Creator, while loving and treasuring everything that Creator also has created for us. And I'm noticing more now than ever, even though it's consistent in certain bodies, but the tension patterns and people having such a hard time letting go. Even letting go of their limbs when I'm massaging them, or letting go of the idea that silence is uncomfortable, like talking through the session, which is 100% cool. But there's something that comes when you are vulnerable enough to rest with another person. And so I'm kind of modeling that right now. I have tons I need to get done, and I sat myself down, and I'm opening up in a way that makes me nervous, and doing it as I am. There's no bells, no whistles. there's nothing. I don't want to say nothing pretty, but I'm saying I am not like dressed to impress or to put off a certain idea of who I am. This is like what I've been packing in all day, and I didn't go like fix my makeup or anything. My eyeliner is smeared. It's reclaiming just who I am is enough, and who's meant for me is with me. And I see that being something needed right now, as things are so intense in this world and everything's moving faster, and it's asking you to do more and asking more of you. I guess the ask is there somewhere this week where you could let it all go for just a little bit of the time? Maybe even just for 1 hour, you allow yourself to write without it needing to sound a certain way. Or if you do find yourself on a table receiving care, even just maybe making an appointment to get some care with someone, could you let yourself just like, if any feelings come up, let them come out? Or see how heavy you can let your body be, and drop any like self-conscious thoughts about your body while you're getting the care. These are all things that I'm just trying to practice and witness. And another for me is I've been super uncomfortable with some of this extra perimenopause puffiness. I'm blaming it on perimenopause because I think my hormones are crazy. But, I'm still going to, I'm going to show up the way I look right now, and it's okay. I don't always need to be petite. And I lifted a bunch of weight so I wouldn't be. But I don't know, I've been in my head about it. It's so interesting how conditioning can show up no matter what you study or do as you change, and things don't remain the way that you like them. It's part of growth. It's part of life. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll check in soon. When I move into my new place, I should be moved in next week. I will try to show up again. All right. Keep taking care of yourself. If you have any questions, let me know. Even any questions about how it's been switching my life to follow Jesus. There's been a lot of changes. So if you don't see me outside, I ain't outside like that. Okay, peace. Much love.